In this video, I'm going to work through problem 6.3 of Gapenski's Healthcare Finance, 5th edition. Okay, so in problem 6.3, we're going to be working off of a rather large table that's given in the book. I'm not going to copy out the whole table, but 6.3a gets into, all right, what are the appropriate allocation rates? So we assume the hospital uses the direct method for cost allocation. So we're still using direct method, so it's relatively straightforward. Direct method, I like direct method. It's easy to do. So what are the appropriate allocation rates? So we've got, so what have we got in terms of services? So support services, we've got three departments. We have general administration, facilities, and financial services. And those departments have to be allocated to the patient services departments, routine care, intensive care, diagnostic services, and other services. And it looks like we've got a cost table at the top. General administration costs has a total cost of $2 million to run. Facilities has a total cost of $5 million to run, and financial services has a cost of $3 million to run. These are the direct costs for each of the support departments. So we've got to figure out, for example, how to allocate the $2 million of general administration direct costs to the patient services departments. So we've got to do that for each of them. So let's start with general administration. The problem tells us that general administration and financial services cost drivers are patient services revenue. Okay, so again, step one, what's the cost pool? So for general services, the cost pool is going to be the direct costs for the support department, which in this case is $2 million. So it costs $2 million in direct costs to run general services. Now we want to know what is the cost driver? Well, the cost driver, we were told, is for general administration and financial services is patient services revenue. So we need to know the total patient services revenue for the entire organization. And that is given on page 215 as $50 million. So 3, what is the allocation rate, right? Well, the allocation rate is going to be $2 million in general services for every for $50 million in patient service revenue, or 1/25th, which is 4 cents of general services for every $1 of patient service revenue. Right? So now we can get into the let me see. Okay, so that is the allocation rate. So we're only going to answer allocation rate at this point, and then B, we're going to get into the actual allocation. So I'm going to pause there, and we'll start again. So that is the answer, right, for general services. Then we've got to do the same thing again. Cost pool for financial services. So what's the cost pool for financial services? Well, we go back to page 215 and we see that financial services is $3 million. The direct cost to run financial services is $3 million. What's the cost driver for financial services? Well, it's the same. It's $50 million. What is the allocation rate then for financial services? Well, it's going to be $3 million divided by $50 million. So that's $3 million in financial services divided by 50 million in PSR gives us 3 over 50. I can't do that in my head. 6 cents I should be able to do that in my head, but I'm just not smart enough tonight for every $1 in PSR. Okay, so that's our allocation rate for financial services. And then last, what is our allocation rate for facilities? And again, cost pool for facilities is $5 million. Cost driver for facilities, we're told, is space utilization. Okay, we need to pause for a second. We have the organization, St. Benedict's Hospital, that we're working with here, has a grand total of 645,000 square feet. But because we're doing direct allocation, we only care about the square footage that's used by the patient service departments, the ones that are generating revenue. There are profit centers, right, that we're going to allocate to. So we only care about the square footage of the profit centers where we are going to allocate cost. So we're going to ignore the square footage of the support departments, the 3 departments that we're allocating out: general administration, facilities, and financial services. The 3 of them combined have 45,000 square feet that they use, right? But the patient services section, 4 departments, use 600,000 square feet. So we're going to use 600,000 square feet as our cost driver, not the 645,000 total for the organization, because we're going to ignore the square footage that belongs to the support departments. Okay, so then what is the allocation rate? Well, the allocation rate is $5 million in facilities divided by 600,000, sorry, not dollars, 600,000 square feet. So that gives us, let's see, 5,000 divided by 600, $8.33 facilities charges per square foot. So that is the answer to part A. And then we're going to go into part B, and part B asks us to actually allocate the amounts for each of these 3 support departments to each of the 4 profit centers. So we'll do that here. For this next part, it's probably easier for me, well, it's certainly easier for me, and it's probably easier for you to follow me doing this on Excel. So I'm going to go ahead and do it here in my Excel sheet. Obviously, if you were doing that, you can do this by hand. I usually do it by hand, but writing with a big fat marker on a piece of pen, on a piece of paper gets kind of messy. So we want to build an allocation table similar to 6.7. Let me just get to 6.7 again. So we're going to have our support departments down the side and our profit centers across the top, and then we're going to allocate. All right, so let's do that real quick. So support departments, we're going to be general services, financial services, as well as facilities. Okay, and let's make room there. And then I'm going to put in the allocation rate for each. So the allocation rate for general services was 0.04. The allocation rate for financial services was 0.06, and the allocation rate for Financial services was 833. Okay. And now we can start to allocate. Let's get all the departments. So we've got routine care. I'll just call it RC. Intensive care. Diagnostic services, and other services, OS. All right, we can make this a little bigger for you. Hopefully that's good. Okay. So going across, general services is going to be allocated by patient service revenue, right? So so we need to know now how much patient service revenue did routine care generate. And routine care generated $30 million in patient service revenue. So we're going to say it's going to equal 0.04, right, times 30 million. So they're going to get 12 million of the cost for general services. And I'm going to do over here is I'm going to sum up these 4 columns because when we're done, we'll know if we've done it right if we get the total amount for general administration, not general services. General administration. If we've done this correctly, when we're done, general administration has $2 million worth of direct cost to allocate. So this number here should add up to 2 million if we've done it right. So now intensive care gets 4 cents for every dollar of patient service revenue, and they did $4 million in patient service revenue. Then direct diagnostic services did 6 million, so equals 4 cents times 6 million, 240,000. And then finally, other services did 10 million. So that's going to be 4 cents times 10 million. And voila, we've got 2 million, which is in fact the total direct cost that had to be allocated from general administration. Now we go to financial services. Financial services is also done off of patient service revenue, except it's 6 cents per dollar of patient service revenue. So 6 cents times, again, 30 million. And then 6 cents for intensive care times 4 million. Whoop. 6 cents times 6 million. And 6 cents times 10 million. And let's copy our formula down and see if I did this right or made a mistake. 3 million. And 3 million is, in fact, how much financial services. If you go back to page 215, you'll see that financial services had 3 million that needed to be allocated. And then lastly, facilities is $8.33 per square foot. So we get 833 times 400,000 square feet for routine care. 833 times 40,000 for intensive care. 833 times 60,000 for direct diagnostic services, and finally 833 times 100,000 for other services, and then let's see if this adds up. So we're off by okay, so we're off by $2,000, and the reason we're off by $2,000 is 833 is there's a rounding error here. So 833, what I can do is actually I can try to fix that by allowing the computer to do the math for me. So it was the original calculation for the allocation rate was $5 million of facilities direct costs divided by 600,000 square feet in the organization. There we go. Now Excel doesn't have any rounding error. Let me make that look a little prettier though. And you can see we've got a more perfect multiplication through. And so we have matching allocation amounts here, or our totals match the amount that had to be allocated. So general administration has direct costs of $2 million, financial services has direct costs of $3 million, and facilities had total direct costs of $5 million. Those had to be allocated to each of the departments. Okay, that completes 6.3.